to the Missouri Division of DD and You webinar for September. So glad to have everybody joining us today. Real quickly, these webinars are set up to be a quick 30-minute burst of information that are targeted toward individuals and families around topics of interest. So if you are a person with a developmental disability or a family member, we welcome you. Glad you're here. If you are someone who works with a person who has a developmental disability and their family, please be sure to share these webinar opportunities with them and point them to the webinar recording if they could not be here today. This is good information that we're sharing. So as Kat shared, these webinars are recorded and they will be posted also on the division's education and learning page for review. And she also shared that she will be sending those out to you when the webinar is over. So today, we're going to be talking about the Partners in Policymaking program through the Missouri DD Council. Partners, if you don't know, is a great leadership development opportunity for people with developmental disabilities and their parents. And I am very happy to have Stacy Morse from the DD Council joining us today to share her information. We're going to start off today with introductions, and then I'll turn it over to Stacy and she can give us the ins and the outs of the Partners in Policymaking program. If we have time left over, we will answer those questions as Kat shared. So put those in the chat for us. And I'm going to go ahead and get us started with introductions and just tell you a little bit about who I am. I am Lisa Nothouse. I work for the Division of DD as the Supporting Families Lead. I began working for the regional office several years ago and then accepted a position at the division. I have 2 adult daughters and 3 grandchildren. My youngest daughter has a developmental disability and is connected to services, so that's where I get my lived experiences from. I'm also proud to share that I am a Partners in Policymaking graduate. So I participated in the program several years ago and absolutely loved the experience. I have tried to share this information with every year since when Partners came back around and they were opening up the application for folks to sign up and try to be participants in the program. I've tried to put that out to folks. I've reached out to some other family members that I knew of that had kiddos with disabilities, because it's a program that I will not forget. I've made great friends through my partner's experience as well. So, and we're still in contact today. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to hand this off to Stacy, and I'm going to let her do her introductions and then start sharing her information. And Stacy, I think you have the folder. I think you're good to go.
All right. Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Lisa and Kat, for letting me be here with you all today. I'm Stacy Morris, the project coordinator for the Missouri Developmental Disabilities Council. And in addition to Partners in Policymaking, I also work on employment and transportation. Some of the experience that I bring to the class is over a decade serving as chief of staff to a Missouri State Senator, as well as the administrator of virtual education at DESE. And before that, being a 5th grade teacher. Fun fact, I am a children's author of rescue dog books, and also was an adjunct professor at MU teaching advocacy for children and families. While I don't have any children, I do have Maxie, and he is just too cute not to share. So I hope that cheers everyone up a little bit today. So let's get down to business here. What is MODDC? The Missouri Developmental Disabilities Council is a 23-member council, and it's made up of self-advocates, family members of children who have disabilities, and State Department representatives. Lisa is one of our council members, in addition to being the Partners in Policy graduate. All of these people are appointed by the governor, and they are the reason that we're able to have the Partners in Policymaking program. The mission of the council is to assist individuals and families in the community to include all people with developmental disabilities in every aspect of life. It was created by the Minnesota Governor's Council in 1987. So this is done in multiple states. And I don't know if you all are aware, but every state has a developmental disabilities council. They were put into place by President JFK in the 60s. So the leadership training program is in about 37 states. And in Missouri, we have over 400 graduates who have already gone through the Partners in Policymaking program. As Lisa mentioned, this is a leadership training program. So adults who have developmental disabilities and parents who have young children with intellectual and developmental disabilities are who we call partners, okay? I don't do this alone. We have a wonderful administrative coordinator, Sarah Williamson, and she does all the administrative support, mailing resources, and setting up our meetings and just helping me keep track of everything. So we're going to talk about some details of the program. Who is allowed to participate? When is it held? How to apply? And you're going to hear from some of the partners graduates of their feedback. So what is the purpose of this program? What we're trying to do is teach best practices so that we can influence public policy. We want to develop partnerships for the people who are needing services and using these services, and then those who are in a position to make the policies and laws. Also, we really hope that some of the partners graduates will serve on boards and commissions, and they'll be the ones making the policies and the laws. So the program is not about getting more services. This is learning how to create change, long-lasting systemic change. Because in society, generally, the policies have and the systems have not been serving people with disabilities and their families. So that is why we have this free online course. We have national speakers from all over the country who meet us in Zoom, and all the material is in Canvas. That's our learning management system. And then we do have one optional in-person session in March for Disability Rights Legislative Day. I just want to be sure you all know, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and Lisa will just chime in at any time, okay? So our goal is to create this group of people who are going to support one another and bring all these talents, their talents, to the state. What we're trying to do is just have a more organized way of educating and influencing, again, the people who have the power to be making these laws and policies where people are trying to get access to services. So what are the topics? What are we going to talk about in Partners in Policymaking? It goes all the way back to the history of disability. It even covers the Holocaust. We talk about the disability movements, including the Capitol Crawl in the 60s. We'll talk about inclusive education, how to advocate in an IEP meeting. Employment is we really want people to be trying to get competitive integrative employment. That means they're making at least minimum wage and they're working with people who do not have disabilities. So they're integrated with everyone. We also have a session on housing, what kind of modifications people might need in order to live independently. Person-centered planning, that is so that we can make sure the person who has disabilities has input in where are they going to live, what are they going to eat, where are they going to work, what do they want to do for fun, as well as positive behavior supports. The last few years, we've had a state senator come and speak about her legislation on guardianship, but the partners will learn the entire legislative process at the state level and the federal level. And that's where some of my just experience of being the chief of staff to the senator, as well as working at the Department of Education, where I can kind of give a little bit of more background on how that works. We also have supported decision-making. We have a session on guardianship, limited guardianship and conservatorship. Assistive technologies. I don't know if any of you are using any kind of assistive tech like text-to-speech. We have a session that goes over the Missouri assistive technology resources that are available to people, how to get loans for them, as well as what all is available. We have a session on victimization. Unfortunately, the people with disabilities are more likely to be victims of abuse. So this is that's a very important session. We have a session on sexuality, healthy relationships, consent, emergency preparedness, and then finally on community organizing and coalition building, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find, hey, here's the problem. What could be the solution? And then how can we influence policymakers by getting our community together, organizing everyone, having a succinct message so that we can get those systemic changes done. So what are the expectations? What do we want you to do? Well, attend virtually between January and September. You don't have to go anywhere. You need to complete homework assignments, and just some examples of those are like writing a letter to a legislator, because we track legislation. Everyone will track a bill, and you'll write to a legislator. We have another one where you reflect on a short film on a discussion board. Maybe you're looking up some resources or looking up ordinances to see if they needed to be changed. So those are just some examples of the homework that you might do. Another big thing is the major project. It has to be on systems change and be inclusive, and I'm going to show you some examples of the major project in just a bit here. We also ask that you complete evaluation forms, and this is so we know where to improve. All of the speakers, there are polls afterwards, so we can see who had a great impact, and then we alter our lessons based on that. We also ask for post-graduation surveys. So after you graduate, you become a partners grad. And again, we have over 400 partners grads in Missouri alone. And what we try to find out there is, hey, what boards have you served on? Have you testified in a hearing? So we want to know all these skills that you learned in partners and policymaking. How are you applying those and advocating and influencing others? So who can be a partner? Adults who have intellectual and developmental disabilities, as well as parents or guardians of children 14 years and younger with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So the guardians could be a sibling, a grandparent, whoever it is that has that direct support and guardianship, or excuse me, support over that young child with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So some examples of developmental disabilities are listed here. And if you have any questions when you're filling out the application, if you're not sure if you are eligible, before you go through it all, please, please, please feel free to give me a call or email, and I'm happy to talk it out with you. So when do we meet? We meet 3 times a month, on a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday. And I know this looks like a lot, and it is a big time commitment, but time flies. We have breaks that are built into every class, and you'll be doing breakout sessions and listening to presenters, sharing your own screen to present. So it really goes by fast. Don't be scared off by this long schedule here. The Fridays when we meet are from noon to 5, and then the next day, Saturday, we meet again from 8:30 to 2:30. And these are all of the dates, so you can put those in your calendar. We do require near perfect attendance. There is an allowance of about 16 hours that can be missed, and then you can go back and watch the recordings. And then our Thursday sessions, that PM session from 6 to 9 p.m., here are the dates for those. And where do they meet? Again, we're meeting in Zoom, so you can be anywhere and be in Zoom as long as you have internet access and a device. It's the same link for every class. And what's really important about doing the advocacy training in Zoom is that's where a lot of things are going to now. Here you all are in WebEx, or there are trainings in Microsoft Teams. And it's important as an advocate, because if we want you to be serving on boards or listening in on hearings, to be comfortable in using these type of software programs. And this is where you learn it. So it's okay if you have no experience at all, because you're going to get that with the program. So where's all the material? Well, it's in our learning management system, Canvas. And this is where you will find all the materials, the speakers' presentations and PowerPoints. You'll find resources there. That's where you'll take quizzes, very short quizzes, just to be sure that you understand what's going on, so that if everyone is missing a concept, I know I've got to go back and make sure that we're all on the same page. When we have announcements of webinars like this great webinar today, any homework assignments, if you want to email me, and then all of the recordings from class will also be in that learning management system. So as you can see here, these are just some of the modules, we call them. We've got graduation, major project, general info, orientation, history January 14th, philosophy February 3rd, and so on. So once you click one of those open, then like here with the history one, every class is kind of set up this way. You'll have an agenda, you have the speaker bio, then you have the presentations, some extra materials. This is a discussion board where you watch the Ed Roberts segment and then post what your thoughts were on it, and then the speaker poll, and then a presentation. So Lisa is going to put the link to the partners application in the chat. And again, when you are looking at this, if you have any trouble at all, please call. I'm happy to, if you call, I'm happy to type out the answers for you. We can mail you a printed copy, whatever you need. Please let us know so we can provide that support. The deadline is November 1st. This is so that we have time to make sure everyone is eligible for the program and get them all set up in the learning management system and get materials sent out in advance. So these are some of the application questions that you're going to see. In addition to what's your name, what's your phone number, of course, what's your email address, we're going to ask, why do you think you'd be a good candidate? Why are you even interested? Do you have any experience already advocating for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities? How did you learn about partners in policymaking? You can say, oh, I went to this great webinar on September 26th. That's how I learned about it. What services are you or your child currently receiving? Because again, we have adults who have developmental disabilities as well as parents who have young children. And then we just ask for 2 references as well. So with the Canvas and the learning management system where all that information is stored, and then Zoom, which is where we meet in class through that same Zoom link, we are very fortunate to have another grant through the Community Partnership of the Ozarks that has tech support. So if you don't have an iPad or you're thinking of someone who would be great for this program, but you know they don't have internet access, let us know because we can help with hotspots and iPads, and you mail them back when they're finished. They're not yours to keep. They're just on loan until the program is finished. But those are available to be checked out, as well as just phone and email support. So maybe in your advocacy, you're trying to create a PDF that you want to share in a hearing. You can contact our tech support, Francine and Nasser, and they can troubleshoot with you, whether it's they remote into your computer or you're sharing a screen or it's just on the phone. They've been able to help a lot of our partners be successful. So please don't let a lack of technology be a reason to not do this, because we have these resources to support people, okay? So let's talk about some major project examples. Remember, in order to graduate, it's attendance, completing homework, and completing the major project. And what's so great about the major projects is that when a lot of people started them, then they'd say, oh my gosh, I started this project. I realized there's no way I'll finish by graduation, but I want to do it anyway. So they're going to keep doing that project, but then they're like, oh, but here's another thing that I want to do instead. So sometimes people end up with multiple projects, but only one is required in order to graduate. So this was, and they all need to be systems change and inclusive. So this was a guide to autism diagnosis. Here's another one that is the road to special education, because sometimes when parents get that diagnosis, what happens next? It can be really overwhelming. Another partner did a presentation on how to create a nonprofit, and that is to help other people create nonprofits to have systems change. Another major project, this is where Coletta just talked about what were her goals. Here's what she wanted to start as her project, but it turned out, oh, this wasn't available. It wasn't really possible. So she pivoted and worked on something else. This IEP guide, I don't know if any of you have seen it before, but this was created by a partner last year. And what's so exciting is the special school district is even using it. So she created this parent IEP guide, and then we have the different QR codes here that this partner set up that you can go to and get even more information of what are the parts of the IEP? How do you even fill out an IEP? And this partner was a teacher, so she, as well as a parent of a child with developmental disabilities. So she had that education background as well as the parent lived experience. Another partner did a project on how to be a hospice volunteer. So her method was to send out a survey and ask, have you ever been a hospice volunteer? What do you know about hospice? And then basically create a training on that so that we could have more hospice volunteers, which is such an important thing. So what happens after you graduate? Every year, the partners graduates get a survey. So this annual survey, we want to know about what new advocacy have you done? Where have you testified? Have you contacted your legislator? Have you had coffee with the legislator, maybe just during the interim, or visited the Capitol? Have you testified in a hearing on a bill, either for or against it, that was important to you? So every year we're going to be asking, hey, what new advocacy have you done? And the reason that's so important, I want to just make this connection here. The reason that's important is because think back to the very beginning when I showed those slides about the Missouri Developmental Disabilities Council. So we get money from the federal government to put on this program, and that's what makes it free to the participants. And then we have to report to the federal government, hey, this is the impact that this program had. This is how many people have been able to contact their legislator and be advocating for change. So when you sign up for partners, understand you're going to keep getting those surveys, okay? We do have the annual Disability Rights Legislative Day at the Capitol. And I'm not going to show that video now because we're short on time, but you all will receive this presentation and be able to check that out. I encourage everyone to sign up for the MODDC news. Do it now. You can do it as a partner graduate, but you can also do it right now. And that's how you find out about the great things that MODDC is doing. After graduation, you can be attending training webinars. Partners graduates are part of the Facebook page. They have their own Facebook page as well as a listserv. So when we know of something that's specific to partners that we think graduates that would be interesting, we send that out to our listserv. Also, every other year, the partners graduates have an annual event. This year we had employment services for competitive integrative employment, and Representative Melanie Stennett started us off. She had worked on Employment First Law, and then you can see here the other organizations that helped. So the first day was about how to get competitive employment, and the second day was what support services do you need, whether it's benefits planning or the job accommodation network. And then what are our partners graduates doing now? So this is some of the information that we gathered from our annual surveys. So you can see that we have people who are presenting on Charting the Life course. They're working with federal legislators to get an autism bill passed. We have another partner graduate who was elected as the president of the American Association on Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities from Missouri. We have someone serving as the APSI president, accessible playgrounds. Someone started an advocacy business, the accessible playground, Better Together Playground. They were working with their state rep on that. I like this quote from a partner's graduate advocating in DC. I will not keep all this knowledge to myself. I plan on telling everyone in my path. Because those are the kind of strong messages that after you finish partners, you'll be saying too. Here's another partner's success story. Rebecca Fleeg is now the president of the PAC for the special school district in St. Louis. And then here we have another partners graduate, Nicole Noblet. Here she is with Senator Lauren Arthur, Governor Parsons, and Representative Melanie Stennett. And Nicole worked on and continues to work on accessible voting. I just love some of these quotes. How has partners changed your life? Improved confidence, knowing rights better than before you took the course, having resources, making great connections. I love this part of the quote. I know change takes time, but I feel encouraged and hopeful in that. Learning about disability law and changes that still need to be made. And I think this is really important right here for our parents, being reminded that self-care is important for myself too. Gaining confidence and just being grateful for being in the program. Learning to stand up for families and letting this person was letting their ministry know about uninclusive programming. Someone loved the course, and this is my favorite part, and I think Lisa mentioned this too, making new friends. So it's so cool that the partners graduates continue to support each other and stay connected. This was our graduating class of 2023. You can see how happy everyone is. And here is my contact information. If there's anything that I can do to help, if you have questions before you fill out the application, while you're in the middle of the application, whatever it might be, please, please do not hesitate to contact me. And that's all. Are there any questions?
I have not seen any in the chat, and I was following you pretty closely in my mind with some of the questions when you and I talked the other day about what might some of the questions be. I think you covered all of that. I did check and make sure that the links, I put the links in for the DD Council. I put your contact information in the chat as well. I put the link for the application in there. Didn't know if there was anything else I needed to add. You mentioned all of your social media outlets. Folks can check you out there as well. Facebook. You guys
Yes.
post a lot of great information on Facebook on a regular basis. So your outreach has picked up and done some good stuff.
And that we do have one participant, Kara Reddy, who wanted to know if she'd be able to say something. Is that okay?
If Kat's there, I bet it's because Kara is muted. And I had mentioned to Kara to come on board and chime in. There you go, Kara. You're
There
on.
we go. Thanks, Kat, for helping me out. I mean, you guys already said a lot of the things, but as a past graduate of partners as well, and working in the industry and being a mom of a child with a disability, I think the biggest thing, and it's doesn't sound as big as it is, but it was huge for me, is that it just takes one small step and one person to make a difference. I think so many times it's so overwhelming and you want things to be better and you want things better for your child and other children, but and adults, but you think, how can I make a difference? And I think meeting with all those people who had the same mindset and learning that it just takes one small step was so big for me during the class.
That's true. You find people with like-minded ideas, experiences to share, and that's why I'm saying some of the deepest friendships I've made. We're still friends. We still chat. We still connect on Facebook. We still text each other on a regular basis, and it was through partners having that commonality. All of us had kids about the same age, so it was a good experience. Thanks, Kara. I appreciate that. And I don't think I have a slide included in the slide deck, but the next Missouri DDD and You webinar is scheduled for October 24th. So go ahead and mark your calendars. Again, 12:30 to 1. targeted toward, quick bursts of information for families and individuals, but please be sure to share this information with folks. If you have any questions, reach out to Stacy too for partners. Check out the website. If you know somebody, share the link with them and let them investigate and explore. Thank you guys. Thanks, Kara, for your comments. Thanks, Stacy, for joining and giving us the information.
Thank you for letting me be part of it today.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye.